record.
Perfect. Okay, I think it's recording. Got it.
Yes, good.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Wow. I'm super excited. Seriously.
Me
I'm super
too.
excited to see you. Laurel, so good to see you. Yeah, I am Sam Ebube. I'm an international recording artist and I'm a motivational speaker. I am an author because I have a couple of books in the pipeline. Firstly, I released Stay Alive in September. Stay Alive, Rich Mind, Empty Grave in September in commemoration with World Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And the book is a lot of testimonies have been rolling in from all shores of the all continents of the world because people were able to purchase the book on Amazon, Canada, Australia, America, and Europe, and Africa as well. And I am so excited to see you for the second time. I think the first time was during the Speak Now Youth Future Leaders Speak Now and Summits. Seriously. And Christy Richardson told me about you and your mother, the great you guys are doing. You guys are a tool for hope to the hopelessness. And I see so much that you guys are doing. And I want to say thumbs up. These are the tools that is required, that is needed in these crucial times that we are now. So I am super excited. I'm super excited when I got to know the great thing that you guys do. You know, you guys didn't allow the water that has come into the boat to sink you guys. Rather, you guys are using the water to roll, to move. You guys are moving on the, you're actually sailing on the river. So I think it's on the ocean. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I like that analogy. I've never heard that before, of letting the water come in and sink your boat. I've never thought about that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So can I get to meet you and what you do also? Though I've heard, but let me hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Laurel Conley Wilson. So I've been married for 2 years now. And obviously my mom's Carrie Conley, and she's very sorry she could not be here. She's been doing VIP sessions with all of her coaches to end the year, which has been great, but the woman does not stop working. I'm like, you need to take a day off.
I understand.
Yes. So I grew up in Colorado and had very much a picturesque life, if you want. I mean, I had my older brother and then my mom and dad, and pretty much all of my family was within miles, like both grandparents, cousins, you know, very ideal family situation. And honestly, the topic of mental illness never really came up. We didn't talk about it a whole lot, and it wasn't on purpose. We didn't avoid it because there was any reason to. We just never thought about it.
Yes.
Which has been interesting, that's something I've learned a lot about, is that people don't talk about it until it becomes something they have to talk about, unfortunately. So it just never was a thing. We never talked about depression, never talked about anxiety in my family. And what I learned as an adult is that we didn't talk about a lot of things, like my extended family did not either.
Yes.
It was very, everything's fine. You know, we would have conversations, but we never dove into really big stuff, I guess. So that was pretty much the first 20 years of my life were very non-tragic, nothing crazy happened. And I went to college here in Oklahoma, and it was halfway through my college career, I guess you'd call it. So I was 2 years in.
Yeah.
I got a call from my brother that my dad had taken his life, and it was so out of the blue that I had no idea what was happening. I mean, I knew of people that had committed suicide, and it was kind of like, oh, that's so sad, or you know, it just wasn't, it was never this close connection for me that I knew somebody personally who dealt with that.
Yeah.
It completely shattered everything for me. I mean, I explain it to people that I felt like I lived in this very happy bubble and other people had bad things, but I didn't. And then when my dad died, I was like, whoa, like I'm actually in this world of crap that happens, I guess.
I can actually imagine the emotional stress you yourself and your mom will actually be going through as at that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my brother was still alive at the time. So my dad passed away first, and my brother was 2 years older than me. And he had actually just gotten home from a 5-week trip to Asia. So he graduated from college, went to Asia with his best friends. And what I've come to learn is that I do believe my dad had the intent of committing suicide for a long time. And he waited for my brother to come home from Asia so that my mom would not be alone, which trying to piece all of that together of figuring out what I believe his plan was, if you will, was really hard for me to come to terms with. Because it was the thought of, okay, he knew for a long time that he was really unhappy. He had decided that he was going to end his life, and he was the type of person that made sure we were so taken care of, which I'm thankful for, but it almost gives you that pit in your stomach of how long was he feeling this way. I guess why I share that with you is that I've learned that there are people who are in very different places when they're suicidal, that they either make a very rash decision, or there's people that have thought about it for a really long time. And I don't know what's scarier, I guess. So I was still in school, and I ended up not grieving, not knowing what the heck was happening. I had no idea what was going on, and ended up having like physical problems, like digestive issues. I couldn't sleep. I mean, my body was so out of whack. I had no idea what was happening. I went back to school. I tried to just do the normal thing, and actually ended up meeting my now husband, which was such a blessing.
Yeah.
He kind of came out of nowhere. And what's funny is the first night that I met him, I told him everything about what had happened with my dad. And I said, if you don't want to date me because this is too much, you can just leave.
Good.
Yeah, because I told him, and I remember it was only 6 months after my dad died, and I was such a mess that I was like, I'm not dateable. Nobody's going to want to date me. I'm a disaster.
Yes.
You know, and he took it with such stride that I was like, that's how I knew that I was going to marry him, because he came in and was like, it's cool. Like, we'll figure this out. So yeah, that was a blessing. But then we dealt with his grandfather committing suicide 6 months before my brother. So we ended up having truly this like series of these men in our life, you know, and I know that it affects women, but the collective of us, my dad passed away, then meeting him, his grandfather commits suicide. Okay,
excuse me, you mean your dad's grandfather also committed suicide?
No, so my husband's grandfather.
Your husband's great grandfather. Okay. Yep. So
it was such a reminder again of why God put he and I together, because that was his first experience. And the thing that he found out, what's crazy is he was not supposed to be with me that day. And then we ended up working our plans out to spend the day together. And he gets a call, and same thing that happened to me. He fell apart. He was like, what's happening? I don't know what to do. And I knew in that moment what he needed, because I was like, okay, I'm seeing how I was in that situation. So it's been very bizarre that I never experienced suicide, never experienced mental illness. And within the last 6.5 years of my life, I've experienced it 3 times very deeply. And when it came to my brother, he kind of falls in that category of the not planned out. I think my brother took a lot of pressure on to fill my dad's spot, and he started having this anxiety of, am I going to fulfill that? Am I going to do something with my life? He used to say to me all the time, I wish God would come down and tell me my purpose. He would tell me all the time. And I wouldn't know what to say to him. I'm like, you know, I want to help you. I want to figure this out. We can talk this out. And he would talk all the time.
Yes.
And that was the difference, is that I never knew my dad was struggling. I never knew he was depressed. I never knew any of that. And with my brother, he was very vocal of feeling anxious.
Yes.
And right before he died, he said to my mom that he thought that he saw a demon. And my mom and I had never actually talked much about this after, because it's one of those things that's hard, that don't know if people believe that or anything like that. But he was thinking that he was seeing things. And that just tells me right there that when people are at that point, I do believe it's such a spiritual battle, that there is so much bad trying to fight the good, and just so much happening. But I do think that when the day my brother died, he panicked, where he was so consumed in his anxiety and was clearly feeling like he was being attacked. And I think it took the best of him pretty much. So when he died, I had a very different reaction of, of course, a lot of confusion. But something bizarre about that day is that deep down I knew I was supposed to do something with all of this, because I didn't want other people to feel this way or to experience.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. So all that to be said, it's been a long journey, and we didn't decide to write the book that we did until 5 years later, because, grief is a process.
Yes.
And I talk about this in my book, is that I used to actually lie. Like everything I just told you, it took me 6 years to admit everything that had just happened to my family, because I think I was almost embarrassed about it, because people don't have a good, I don't want to say like representation of suicide, but there is such a stigma around it. So I had a hard time. People used to ask me sometimes, how did your dad die? And I would say, oh, he had cancer, or oh, he had a heart attack, which shame on me for lying.
Yes, I understand.
Yes.
Just to cover up the shame that people would actually stamp on you, because it has a long way to allow you to be who you want to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say that I don't ever want to say I'm proud of my story, but I'm proud of what I'm doing with it now. And that's been a really long time to get to that point. Because, it, like how you've connected with me, me as someone who has experienced suicide. And for a long time, I didn't want to be known that way. I didn't want to be the person that lost a dad and brother by suicide and then wrote a book about it. Like, I didn't want to be that person. But I've taken a long time to pray about it and accept that I can use that to help other people, even though sometimes the reaction I get from other people is very like, oh man. Oh. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm trying to not be pitied in any way, and just choose to use it for good, hopefully. So it's been a long journey.
Honestly, I really do want to commend you and your mom for being the voice for the voiceless, especially in this crucial times that we are.
Yep.
Now, this is what I've come to understand. The number one active medicine for depression, suicide, mental illness, and emotional health. Number one medicine that works perfectly, that has worked, that continues to work, and that is working, is awareness.
Yes, absolutely.
Awareness. And that is what you and your mom are doing, and that is what God has empowered me to do. And together we'll continue to do this, because I must share this with you. There has been amazing testimonies all across the world, because you wouldn't know people who have come across your book or your conversation, or even this conversation that we are having now.
Right.
We wouldn't know those who will come across it, and in somehow, it will just be the active medicine that they need at that particular time. So you sharing your experience, do you know that your experience alone that you just shared now, that you still be pouring to people in our subsequent conversation, is enough to give parents alertness, to give family alertness, mental awareness. And that is enough, because once I'm aware about something, once I'm aware how this, in Africa, if you want to sell a medicine to someone, the first thing they'll ask you is that, have you tested it? I'm serious. When you want to sell a drug for an African man, he will ask you, have you used it? So it's about the fact that it has happened to you. And you are ensuring that it doesn't happen to anyone else. And that is why we are creating more awareness. This is what I tell people. After I created a Stay Alive Civility Initiative, I come to tell people that suicide prevention and awareness, depression awareness, mental illness awareness, and anxiety awareness is not just a movement, because every movement stops. Somehow it stops on the bed, it stops on your chair at home, but we are trying to make this a lifestyle. So staying alive purposefully is a lifestyle. For as much as there is life, there is greatness ahead. Life itself is so full of ups and downs.
Right.
But what I try to share with people in Stay Alive, Rich Mind, Empty Grave, is tools, workable tools. Workable tools that is going to help them, because I realize that in this social media age that we live in, the mind, the inner strength, you are by the strength that you carry. You are by your mindset. So a renewed mindset is going to shut the doors to the grave. Because if you look at the grave now, the grave is as open to suicide, to depression, a lot of sicknesses, a lot of illnesses that people have out there is as a result of excessive thinking. Thinking is not good for the body. It's not good for the health. It has a way of synchronizing itself into our hormones, into everything about us. So more reason why happy people live long compared to people who are always in agony, in pain, thinking. And that is what we are advocating to the people. Think less, smile more, laugh more. I tell people, do you know that all what is happening around the world, all what is happening, and that will continue to happen to the world at large, this is not the first time. It's been happening. We came to this world, we met it, and we will leave it all. So why do you allow the pressure of the world to get into you? It is the water that gets into the boat that sinks the boat, not the water that the boat flows on. So that is what we're telling people.
Right.
People will talk about you. Tough times will come. And let me quickly say this. I am working on Stay Alive Volume 2. Stay Alive Volume 2 is all about tough times, people, and their story. That is the subtitle for Stay Alive Volume 2 that will be launched. This book will be launched in February. And because February, the second Saturday in February, by I Change Nation, it has been endorsed by I Change Nations as the World Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. It's just a month to create awareness. And we are telling people that we aren't just creating awareness for just a day or for a month. We are making this awareness a lifestyle. And I'll be glad to have you and your mom share a chapter in this book. Awesome. I have a lot of people, I have a lot of world leaders who were able to pour their mind, their heart, how they were able to overcome suicidal ideation, how they were able to maneuver depression, how they were able to shut the doors towards mental illness, towards anxiety. So these are the tools that we are putting up together in Stay Alive Volume 2, which is tough times, because we know everybody around the world, the pandemic, the COVID-19 has actually hitting deep into the economic system of the world at large. So a lot of people are going through what we call tough times. Companies, organizations are going through tough times. So we want to give them workable tools. And that is the reason for Stay Alive Volume 2. People share their stories, just like what you've shared to me. I would like you and your mom to to come up with a chapter. If you would like, if mom would do, if you would do your, I think I'm good with that, so that people can hear from her as an adult, as a mother, so that parents who are actually in a position, they can learn from her. And you as a young adult, people also can learn from you. How were you able to handle it? This is your father, this is your brother. So I think I'm requesting that you and your mom do a separate chapters, because this separate chapter is going to ignite the lights to the world at large.
Yeah.
And because from your story, I am encouraged with Stay Alive. With your story, I believe a lot of people across the world is going to be encouraged by, you were very brave. You are courageous. Yes, I'm serious. You are courageous. A lot of people wouldn't want to talk about it. Right. But in this digital age, in this discussion age, we are here to shed more light. We are here to inspire people. We are here to help people out of what the people in the past has failed to talk about. And that is why we are where we are now. And we are saying to people that, no, we want to live a world where everybody is alive. We want to live in a world where you actually wake up in the morning and you're like, where is Jessie? And they say, oh, Jessie, Jessie, what's up? Not that a world where you wake up in the morning and you are hearing bad news about Jessie. No. So that is the new world we are creating. Together, we are creating a new world. You might not know, but I'm telling you, with what you and your mom is doing, we are creating a new world. You can see a new world where there is awareness about mental illness. A new world where there is awareness about leadership and innovation. A new world where there is medicine, the most active medicine for depression, for anxiety. Because someone actually come across my book and was inspired. There was live. I was part of the international experts that actually talked on emotional health summit in USA. And after my conversation, all glory be to the one who speaks through me, which is the Holy Spirit. A lady from US, she dropped a comment. She says, today I realize that I am beautiful. She said long ago she has contained a lot that people have said to her, but she knew that it can only be the living spirit that is speaking through me. May his name forever be glorified. Jesus, may his name forever be glorified. So what I'm saying now is that we are empowered. We are empowered to save the world. We are empowered to create a new world where there is no figure to suicidal ideation, where there is no figure for suicide. So that is exactly what we are doing presently. And I must say, Laurel, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to give you 5 star. 5 star. Give you 5 star.
Thank you. I was telling my husband before we talked, I was like, Psalm is just the most joyful and passionate person. And I was like, I could just listen to him all day. I told him, I was like, I'm very excited to talk with him. But I don't know if you believe this, and it sounds like you do, but my mom and I have had so many conversations about how the world is shifting right now. And everything that you're saying, that we are going to be creating this new world. I believe we are in such a pivotal time that all these things that are happening they're not unprecedented, like people are saying. It's not consequence what's happening. It's not at work, and people are, there are a lot of tough times happening, but I fully believe all of these things are happening so that people like you and I that have these stories and are being led by the Holy Spirit to be a light. This is our time to do that. And it's scary, is somewhat scary, because it's, it's kind of wild what's happening, but it's like, okay, this is seeing why all the things that we're going through are happening, so that we can start sharing the truth with people and making awareness for people that, are very much stuck in very bad headspace. And like you said, what's crazy, what you were saying too, that my mom says this all the time, that with cancer and with illness and with people being unhealthy, so much of it starts in your mind. And for a long time, I was always like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. Like, how can you get cancer from being stressed? But, you know, like you're saying, it's so true that our mind and our body connects that way. Absolutely. And a lot of people don't believe that. So it's crazy.
Do you know that there was a time that in my lifetime I was going through a tough time. It was a sudden hit at the workplace, you know, where your colleague and others, they turned their back, and in fact some of them went extra mile to ensure that they bring me down. And at that stage, this happened, I think 2015. Just 5 years ago. And at that time, you know, I actually went through that state of, because I've trusted these people, and I could not imagine that people can be this wicked. At that time, I was going through excess thinking. I'm talking about my own experience. Because when my doctor friend told me, I've read some Harvard University philosophies about excess thinking and our health. Do you know that I realized that I was firstly demarcating because of excess thinking. 2, I lost appetite to as in appetite to eat. I lost appetite. And thirdly, I realized that I started feeling pain in my chest. It happens because I was thinking. And in the course of that season, I realized that no, why should I allow what has happened to enter into me? So if we allow the things that is happening to us to get inside of us, it will break us. And that is more reason why we want to let it be outside, because it happens outside. Let it be outside. So that is the word I'm living with people. Whatsoever that happened outside, let it be outside. Never allow it to get inside, because our body system is synchronizes in such a way that everything happens inside. So never allow the things, the pressure of the world, the issues of life, the trials of life, the pains of life to get into you, because once it gets into you, it will break you inside. And that is what we are telling people. We are saying to people that no, don't ever let all that is happening around the world, around you, get inside of you. Let it be outside. So it means let it just be there. Let it just be there. Let it just be there outside. And you will see yourself coming out radiantly, coming out victoriously. It happens to me. I came out of it victoriously, honestly speaking. Because after some time, people were like, Sam, you are stronger. And that is why in one of my songs, I put a song titled Stronger. We are stronger together. I'm with you, Laurel.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way you can manifest that too. It's kind of a silly example, but and you know, I fully believe people can get colds and that kind of thing. But when you talk about getting sick, or worrying so much about getting sick, or always thinking about it, you're going to get sick. And I grew up with cousins that my aunt and uncle and my cousins were always afraid of being sick. Like it was this topic. Well, we think we're getting sick. She's not feeling good. I felt like that was all they talked about, was having a cold or being sick or having the flu. And the thing was, they were always sick. And I remember thinking, I was like, why do they get sick so much? And I remember my mom saying, she was like, because it's all they think about and it's all they talk about. And it's all they worry about. And so there's this fear around it, and it just constantly consumed them. Like it was this never-ending cycle. And I was like, how bizarre.
Yes.
It's weird how it works that way, and it's so true. And I don't think a lot of people have ever even been told to think of it that way. And it gets into their body and gets into their mind, and like you said, it'll absolutely consume you.
Thank you. So for everyone that will be watching this conversation, for everyone that is going to rewatch and share to people, there is something that myself and Laurel has come to bring to you today from our conversation today about staying alive purposefully, is that never allow what is happening around you to get into you. Never. That is number one. And number two, you have to be courageous in life. You have to be courageous, and you have to tell to yourself that you are stronger in all. you are stronger. Because it's because we are stronger. That is why we continue to be. Because we are by what we say. Look at us, we are stronger. And that is what we are sharing to everybody. So, Laurel, in one word, what will you say to people who will be watching this replay of our conversation today?
One word, I would say perspective. It's kind of what we've been talking about. It's all a perspective and choice every day of what you're going to allow in, what you're going to focus on, how you're going to go about your day. I mean, if I really wanted, I could wake up and be like, this is going to be the worst day ever. And I'm just going to choose that it's going to be the worst day, and it's probably going to be the worst day ever. But I could wake up and have a perspective that it's going to be awesome, and I'm not going to let that outside stuff get in. It's everything. So.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thumbs up. So please kindly help me share this message with Mom, and we'll continue our chat on the WhatsApp. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I apologize I respond late. It doesn't notify me. I need to change that. So I have to go back in to see if there's anything. I'm not on that app a whole lot, so I'm going to change it where it'll actually like notify me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and let us know too what we can do with the chapters and when you're wanting those and how we can send that to you. And yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at if the chapters, I mean, a draft of the chapter could be ready before 22nd of this December, so that I can forward it to my editor, because it's done with all the others. So I'm waiting for yours, because God just planned yours. God just planned you and Mom's story to be in this book. Honestly, I have my reason why I'm saying this. Yeah. So, and 2nd of December, I'll be looking forward to having. I'm going to drop my email in the WhatsApp group. Okay. In the WhatsApp chat, I'm going to drop my email so that you can take your time, and you're a good writer. You already have a book.
Thank
so
you.
I know it'll be.
Do you have like a preference on length or anything? Are you asking people any specific word count or length or anything along those lines?
Yeah. What I'm looking at is there is room for expression, because this is a story.
Okay.
In the process of you trying to cut a story short, you might lose the most vital ingredients. So for me, I'll just leave it open for you and your mom. For others, I give them a restriction of words, a deadline of words and all. But for you and your mom, I'm empowered to allow you express yourself because of your story, your stories, and as well, so that you can pour out those powerful ingredients that is going to enrich the mind of people around the world.
Awesome. Well, we will absolutely do that. I'll pass this along to her. I'm going to see her a couple days, I think. She's coming back to see me, so maybe we can sit down and work on it together, which will be fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop a message now to you on chat. Just quickly check. I'm dropping a message with you.
Okay.
I'm dropping a message with you. Okay. Yeah, you got the message?
Yep. Awesome.
Oh, okay. Good.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Blessings to you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Well, we will get this chapter to you
bye.
Soon. Have a good day.
Yeah, bye. Cheers.